Stop the daily grind. The key to peak performance is the pulse. Hi everyone, Mazen here, and welcome to the Maximal Life. Today, we're going to talk about how you can set the flow of your entire day by the motions you take first thing in the morning. Many people balk at the idea of adopting a morning ritual. I was one of them. What I did not realize for several years was that I already had a morning ritual. I had my default morning ritual. 5:45 a.m., the harsh tone of my alarm rattles me awake. Without even prying my eyes open, I reach for my phone, which was, as usual, in the bed with me. The first glimpse of light that fills my eye radiates not from the sun, but from my phone screen. I'm still in bed, but my workday has begun. I blink hard and painstakingly will myself out of exhaustion, staring hard at the screen as my vision blurs in and out, trying to focus. 6 a.m., with all the contents of yesterday's emails and today's responsibilities running through my mind, I quickly shower and get dressed. I don't notice the warmth of the water running down my back. I don't remember if I replaced the cap on the toothpaste. I don't know if I even kissed my wife good morning. I just get ready. Same as yesterday and the day before. My body does the actions with my mind hypnotized by all that must be done that day and that week. 6:30 a.m., I skip breakfast, or just count on the fact that I'll be grabbing something quick, maybe something at the cafeteria, a bagel, a cereal bar, whatever that is going to be available at the cafeteria. I wave a flying goodbye to my family, get into my car, and with my turn of the key, the roar of my engine comes the roar of anticipating the drudge of the morning commute. That was how I started my day for years, and I thought, this is how it has to be. This is how it has to be for now. I'd hypnotize myself with the sentiments like, I'm making my way, and these are the sacrifices that have to be made. This is what everyone has to do to be successful. This is how you get ahead. And if that doesn't sound like a good start, the rest of my day usually wasn't much better. I jokingly refer to lunchtime as the productivity thief, and almost always just shoved something into my face without even tasting it while still cranking at my desk doing my work. Apart from that, my day consisted of running from meeting to meeting, from conference to conference. If I have any time in between, I'm on my phone returning business phones, text messages, emails, other meetings. I surely answer the work-related texts in length, but I responded to my wife with as little words as possible. I leave work after dark, get home exhausted with very little energy to my family that I could share with them. And after barely tasting dinner, I collapse in my bed with my phone in my hand. Welcome to how I operated my life for many years in the past. I was living the popular grind life. The go, 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 go of the grind is outdated and defunct. Go, go, go is the culture of today's economy, born from the Industrial Revolution and still very much alive today. Time is the resource we have been conditioned to rely upon to get more accomplished. When there is more to do, we invest more hours, and while we rely on time to get our workload completed, we also live with a perpetual sense of time poverty. Time poverty is that endless grating feeling that we are racing against time. Racing against the very thing we are relying on the most. Science supplies a useful way to understand the forces at play here. Physicists understand energy as the capacity to do work. And the good news is, energy is renewable. With the grind culture, we see taking more time off or even taking more frequent breaks as counterintuitive. The idea is also unpopular with the prevailing work ethic in most companies, where rest time is viewed as time wasted. Many people feel pitted against their colleagues and goaded into pushing beyond their energy levels as not to fall short of one another. But that does not mean that those employees are the most productive. In a study published recently, taken of nearly 400 employees, researchers found that sleeping less than 6 hours per night was one of the best predictors of on-the-job burnout. A recent Harvard study estimated that sleep deprivation costs American companies $63.2 billion a year in lost productivity. I'm reminded of a great quote by Antonio Gramsci. My practicality consists in this, in the knowledge that if you beat your head against the wall, it is your head that breaks, not the wall. Another recent survey of over 2,500 companies in 90 countries worldwide found that one of the most challenging obstacles facing modern employers is the overwhelmed employee. Studies show over 75% of all visits to primary care doctors are work stress-related cases, where unsustainable work habits and constant tension contribute to anxiety, depression, insomnia, obesity, infertility, cardiovascular diseases, and a host of biophysical consequences that not only diminish the quality of life, but can even end life prematurely. The statistics on this topic can be pretty grim, but a new and growing body of research on the science of performance shows that strategic renewal and recovery boost productivity, job performance, and most importantly, your health and well-being. As renowned football player, coach, and analyst Lou Holtz said, "It is not the load that breaks you down, it's the way you carry it." The science behind the renewal routine. In the world of exercise science, the cycle of activity and recovery actually has a name: periodization. World-class athletes are masters at this cycle. Training for these athletes alternate between hard days of intense intervals and easy days consisting of light jogging or even getting massages for the whole day. The best athletes prioritize recovery with every bit as much as passion as they prioritize the gym or the track. The entire careers of master athletes represent a continual flow between activity and recovery. Those who cannot find the right combination of these two strengths either get hurt or get burned out. Those who live by this pulse between productivity and recovery become lifelong champions. And now we know the same is true for all of us, not just the athletes. In the 1950s, the researchers William Dement and Nathaniel Claytman discovered that we sleep in cycles of about 90 minutes, ebbing and flowing from light sleep to deep sleep throughout the night. They named this pattern the basic rest activity cycle. A decade later, Professor Claytman discovered and proved that this cycle remains with us during our waking hours and during our waking times. The difference is, during the day, we move naturally from a state of alertness to a state of physiological fatigue approximately every 90 minutes. He called it the ultradian rhythm. The body is a reporter. It is our job to read the report and give the body what it's asking for. Science has proven that it is written to our biological rhythm for our body to tell us, like clockwork, throughout the day when we need a break to replenish our energy reserves. But we often override these signals by using caffeine, sugar, and sapping our energy hormonal reserves, such as adrenaline and cortisol, just to get us through our daily workloads. Maximal achievers use this secret practice to better the world. Just as world-class endurance athletes pulse between activity and recovery, a similar style of work held true for creative geniuses as well. Csikszentmihalyi, a world-renowned scientist, conducted a study consisting of data collected over a period of 50 years from groundbreaking inventors, innovative artists, Nobel Prize-winning scientists, and Pulitzer Prize-winning writers. The conclusion of this study confirmed the brightest minds spend their time either pursuing activities with ferocious intensity or engaging in complete recovery. And his study proved that this approach not only prevents creative burnout and cognitive fatigue, but it also leads to breakthrough ideas. The scientific evidence supporting this daily pulse is overwhelming. Professor K. Anderson Erickson of Florida State University found that top performers across all fields are unable to sustain intense work and deep concentration for more than 2 hours at a time. From his research, Dr. Erickson concluded to maximize gains from any long-term practice, individuals must avoid exhaustion and must limit practice to an amount from which they can completely recover. The intensity with which you work must equal the intensity with which you rest. The brain is a bank. We can only withdraw what we deposit. The body is a reporter, and the reporter is always honest. And energy is the antidote. What we give energy to thrives. It is all in the ebb and flow, a cause and effect, a relationship. Without fail, regardless of industry or job description, periods of hard work followed by short but intentional breaks yield the best performance. I'm talking 100% statistic rate. Matching the intensity with which you work to the intensity with which you rest give you incremental benefits that are our biological certainty. A certainty. So, we know how to grind. We know how to work ourselves past our point of exhaustion and still keep going. But how do we renew and recover to the same degree in which we work hard? Your renewal practice. Let's get into it right here, right now. As I systematically built these performance principles into my day and my business, I've learned that it isn't how long, but how well you renew and recover that matters most. Even renewal requires some practice, so be patient with yourself. At first, there may be some resistance. Your mind will want to wander back to the fray just out of habit. It is not that we want to wear ourselves down, it is just that we live in a culture that glorifies the grind. The go mindset, the short-term gains, and the pushing to the extremes. We praise the athlete who stays after practice. We lionize the CEO who sleeps in his office. Yes, strong work ethic is paramount to growth. But now we know the impulse to grind is cultural conditioning, merely a bad habit, and misaligned with being a maximal you and living a maximal life. Within a short period of time and consistent practice of rest and renewal, your mind will begin to embrace and then encourage your renewal state, because you are essentially bringing yourself back into your natural biological rhythm and aligning with your own body intelligence. There are 3 channels of activity that we human operate in: the cognitive, the physical, and the emotional. When you are taking a renewal break, it's important to switch the channel. If you've been engaged in an activity that requires a lot of thinking and strategizing, the break should disengage you from the cognitive channel. This can be done by going for a walk outside, or doing some stretching, or meditating, or even taking a 20-minute power nap. Now, if you've been engaged in an activity that requires rigorous protocol or heavily dealing in numbers and statistics and Excel sheets and all these kind of things, the emotional channel is perfect for renewal. Music has a wonderful way of invoking our emotions. Choose a few songs that resonate strongly with you, turn up the volume, close your eyes, and just simply experience the sounds flowing through you. Let's take another example of the day if you've been engaging in intense physical activity. Renewal can include body stretching, sipping on a nutritious shake, reading on your favorite topics, and even taking an entire day off for relaxing and doing what you would enjoy. The motions that maximize energy renewal. Now, here are some motions we can employ to harness the power of truly renewing throughout our busy work schedule and begin to honor this natural rhythm for our maximal self. Harness your daily energy by timing out your day to include renewal breaks every 60 to 90 minutes. When I first began this practice, I set an alarm on my phone to alert me every 90 minutes to shift my focus from productivity to recovery. After a while, I began to instinctively sense when it was time to take a renewal break. Usually it was between 60 to 90 minutes. I always think of this quote by Anne Lamott. It makes me just smile. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. Next, here is how to harness the recovery benefits of your weekend and days off. Many of us work right through the weekends and don't even use all of our accrued or paid time off. Instead, we get trapped into the thinking if we weren't always working, we will be surpassed by our competitors. Again, this misguided thinking is the result of years of cultural conditioning. Because here's the thing. If we never take easy periods for recovery, we are never able to go full throttle, and our best efforts aren't nearly what they could be. We get stuck in that gray zone, never really operating at peak performance and never really recovering either. The irony is that resting hard takes more guts than working hard. Recovery isn't lazy. It's an active process in which physical and psychological growth occurs. And finally, here is how to harness the recovery benefits of your long vacations. Research shows that vacations lasting 7 to 10 days have a positive effect on motivation, well-being, and health that sustains us for an entire month. Studies also show a diminishing or an entire elimination of the possibility of burnout from the effects of a 7 to 10 day vacation. But here's the catch. If the conditions that cause a burnout are unregulated on a daily basis by utilizing mini breaks, sound sleep, and off days, then extended vacations won't have that lasting effect. Instead, one will experience dread upon returning right back into the fray. Vacations aren't the cake, they are the icing, a chance to more fully regroup. On extended vacations, it's imperative to truly disconnect from work, unplug both physically and mentally, and engage in renewing activities you find relaxing and enjoyable. Here's the Maximal Life morning ritual. Today, my morning ritual supports a maximal me for a maximal life. It includes stepping out of my office and greeting the sky with a deep stretch and feeling the sun on my face. I schedule my renewal breaks throughout my whole day, and I adhere to them with the same passion that I adhere to my work schedule. And instead of beginning and ending each day holding my phone, I begin and end my day holding my lovely wife. I don't even need to tell you what an amazing difference I've experienced from adopting this practice in my life, because the overwhelming body of research beyond this practice speaks volumes. The benefits of a recovery practice that is equal in intensity to our productivity are a biological certainty. I want to thank you for joining me for this very important conversation. The undeniable truth is this: you operate at your highest level of performance when you optimize your renewal and recovery. I hope this has served you to live as your maximal self and achieve peaceful, positive, passionate success daily as we continue our journey together living our maximal life. If you like what you have seen and heard, please subscribe.